Welcome back to the show, and today, my friends, we are going to be discussing Elden Ring withdrawal symptoms, because if you're anything like me, you've spent the last month diving into the game's action-packed world and narrative arcs, and are now sadly looking down the barrel of the endgame. That's right, the end is nigh, and it'll soon be time to move on from the lands between, and what better way to distract yourself from that all-consuming sorrow than by diving into another video game. And let's get started in the obvious place. I mean, you just got done playing an amazing From Software game. It punished you, and a sick little voice in the back of your head told you that you loved it. It punched you square in the face, and like Jack in the movie Fight Club, you answered, "Yes, Daddy, please may I have another?" So my suggestion is that you pick yourself up and dive directly into another outstanding From Software game. And let me tell you, these masochistic monsters have been making punishing games for decades now, so you're gonna have yourself some choices. For example, you could always jump straight into the Dark Souls games that made the studio famous and which have benefited from multiple remasters. Or if you're looking for something a little more modern but still Miyazaki, why not check out Sekiro Shadows Die Twice? That is, if you like the idea of getting slapped around by a poop-slinging tryhard albino great ape. Alternatively, you could jump into Demon Souls on the PS5, which is a remake of the 2009 From Software game which kicked off the Soulsborne genre. And the frequency of Guardian Ape encounters in Demon Souls is orders of magnitude lower than in Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, so I would personally opt for that one because I can't emphasize this enough, I hate that freaking monkey. Finally, you could also check out Bloodborne, which, since its release in 2015, has become one of the most popular, or at least talked about, From Software titles to date. However, be warned that as it stands, it's only playable at 30 frames per second, so it might be worth holding out for a 60 frames per second mode being launched later down the line. But you don't have to stick with a From Software title, you could go for a completely different game from a completely different studio that has similar feels and themes. A good example of this would be the Metroidvanias Hollow Knight and Dead Cells, both of which are lauded as having distinctive and gorgeous art styles, rock-solid, challengingly difficult gameplay, and super tough bosses which will see you repeatedly dying and coming back for more. Sound familiar? Now, while level, this is one of the directions that I'm thinking about going in myself. When these games first came out, their reputation for difficulty put me off jumping in straight away. But hell, I just gave General Radahn the business and killed the goddess of Rot Malenia, so maybe it's time to change gears and give these pixels a beating they won't soon forget. But if you're not in the mood for that sweet 2D action, why not go for another open world game? I mean, one of the best things about Elden Ring was the fact that it featured a phenomenally expansive and well thought out open world with countless biomes and dungeons. You know what else has a gorgeous world with countless biomes and well thought out dungeons? Horizon Forbidden West. Now, many gamers like myself picked up Forbidden West when it released on the 18th of February this year, only to swiftly put it back down again when Elden Ring released 7 calendar days later. I literally only got to play through the prologue and the beginning segment of the game before I was unceremoniously ripped away and dumped into the lands between, where I'd spend the next month fighting horrors that made a Thunderjaw look like a fluffy kitten. I mean, I'd honestly rather fight 2 Slitherfangs with a blunt stick than take on 3 Elden Ring dogs with a level 130 tarnished. And because of that, I'm not only looking forward to exploring the story, lore, and beautiful open world of Horizon Forbidden West because it's going to be an amazing game and because I love the original. No, I'm also looking forward to it because it's gonna be a freaking vacation in comparison to Elden Ring. What's that, Aloy? There's a blight spreading across the fields affecting crop growth? Yeah, take a trip to Caelid, check out the rot, and get it in perspective because at worst you're dealing with a little bit of light, damp, and maybe some mold. Also, you can override the machines you're fighting. Have you ever tried to override a dragon? Because it's not gonna go the way you want it to. And if that doesn't help take away the ache in your soul that is the absence of Elden Ring, then you could always try and outrun those bad feelings like a healthy adult by diving into something completely different. So what, Elden Ring is a gothic nightmare rooted in medieval fantasy? Well then why not go full sci-fi with bright visuals and thick creamy layers of comedy with the Guardians of the Galaxy game from Square Enix? Or on a slightly more dramatic note, you could tool around saving the galaxy with Commander Shepard and his best boy Garrus in the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Because remember kids, your feelings can't find you in space. But honestly, for some of you, even running away from your feelings won't be enough to get you over Miyazaki's latest masterpiece because, well, you simply aren't ready to move on yet. And I've got good news for you because my last suggestion on how to survive in a post-Elden Ring world is simply to never leave, because why the hell should you? Elden Ring is a game designed to be played again and again thanks to the new Game Plus mode, which essentially lets you start a new journey all over again from the beginning, but this time you're doing it with about 100 hours of game experience, a massively leveled up character, and several dozen treasure chests worth of legendary smithing stones, runes, items, armor, weapons, and equipment, some of which you've literally taken from the lukewarm ashes of the demigods that you so recently killed. To compensate, enemies are correspondingly harder, but this second playthrough has the potential to open up entirely new forms of gameplay that you left completely untouched the first time round. For example, in my current playthrough I'm rocking a dual katana blood build which encourages super aggressive toe-to-toe gameplay. But all the way through I've been eyeing up the high faith requirement gear that I've been picking up and wondering what it would be like taking on these same bosses with that equipment. But it's not just new gameplay styles that you'll be exploring in Game Plus mode, because let's face it, there is absolutely no way that you could have explored everything that the game has to offer in a single playthrough. I don't care how thoroughly you've explored the map, it's just not possible. Numerous times I progressed too far through one storyline or another, only to pick up the thread of a parallel side quest which has been rendered unfinishable as a result of my progression. There are also multiple endings to the game which, by their very nature, require multiple playthroughs to experience. In short, there are countless ways to play the game and mix and match classes, and countless things to see. And with New Game Plus, there's always a reason to keep coming back and experiment, either until the sun transforms and swallows the earth whole, or preferably, we get some new content in the form of DLC or even the announcement of an Elden Ring sequel. And that is it for today's video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the episode, and to let me know what you thought in the comments section below. Be sure to keep it here for all the biggest news, reviews and reactions from across the video gaming industry.